Tally?
I'm asking you what you...
I sent her money, she sent me...
Just a second. Just a second. Now it's going to get difficult.
This is Judy Justice. Jill Wyatt is suing her ex-boyfriend, John Moore, for the money he spent while she was in jail.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3046, Wyatt versus Moore.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Miss Wyatt, how long were you and Mr. Moore in a relationship?
We've known each other for about 18 years.
Did you ever live together?
On a couple of occasions.
When was the last time you lived together?
January, I believe, 2022.
Were you living in a house or an apartment?
It was a house.
Was it a lease?
Yes.
Was the lease in your name, Mr. Moore's, or both?
No. Apparently it was an arrangement that he had with the person that he gave the money to. There was no paper.
We're getting far off the field, but it's getting more interesting. Now, Mr. Moore, Miss Wyatt, although I believe she probably has a good memory of this, I have just a sense that she's reluctant to give me information about this for whatever reason. In January of 2022, sir, you and the plaintiff were living in a house together.
No.
When were you living in a house together?
We've never had a relationship. We've never lived together. When you say live together, I come over. I got a girlfriend I've been having for the whole time, so I've never lived with her.
Do you remember the house she's talking about,
yes,
sir?
I do.
All right.
The one she destroyed.
I don't want you, just a second. I don't want you to play around with me.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay. Do you know the house she was talking about when the two of you were together some of the time in a house in January of 2022? That's a yes or a no?
Still a no.
Okay. So the house that she's talking about, you lived in alone?
I lived in with my girlfriend, actually.
Oh, just a second. Did Miss Wyatt ever come to stay in that house with you before you had your then current girlfriend?
When I first got the apartment, Miss Wyatt was going to come. She didn't get along with the lady upstairs. She said she wouldn't come, destroyed the house and left.
Okay. Well, if she destroyed the house, then she was in the house. Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
If she destroyed the house, then she was in the house. And if she didn't get along with the lady upstairs, she wouldn't know that unless she actually lived there because she's not telepathic.
Okay.
So she was, in fact, there.
I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, man.
What I'm saying is not difficult. She did, in fact, stay there with you for a while after you got this house.
Okay.
Not okay.
No, I'm seeing where you're trying to go with that. I'm trying to see what you're establishing. Yes, she did stay there. I'm agreeing with you. That was me saying yes, ma'am.
No. Taking a long time, but we're there. Okay. And then at some point, Miss Wyatt, you left there and you went into your own apartment?
Yes.
Okay, and where is your apartment?
I moved into a trailer.
That you were renting?
Yes.
I just want to know. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's the trailer that he was supposed to pay rent on and utilities on when you went to jail?
Yes, ma'am.
So from 2020 until the time you went to jail for, what, 18 months?
78 weeks. I'm sorry, 78 days.
What did you go to jail for?
In 2018, I received a, I'm sorry.
Just a second. 2018, you had a conviction.
Yes, I ended up serving the time in 2022 for
theft.
Correct. I stole Thanksgiving dinner, ma'am.
Are you sure? It sounds like 78 days is a lot. Were you on probation first?
Yes.
Did you take a plea in that case?
Yes.
Okay. And as part of the plea, you were placed on probation?
Correct.
What was the crime that you pled guilty to? I want to understand this. What, was it petty theft? Was it grand larceny? What was it?
No, it was retail fraud / shoplifting for $170.
Okay.
That's what it's.
And you were placed on probation?
Yes.
Why was your probation violated? Because that clearly was why you went to jail for 78 days, not because of an old crime, but because you violated probation.
I wasn't keeping in contact with my probation officer like I was supposed to.
Okay. So this case is about the fact that you asked Mr. Moore, who you knew for a long time, to take care of your expenses, your bills, while you were incarcerated, and you gave him your phone.
Yes.
Your phone had the wherewithal, and you he understood that because he acknowledges he used it to take money out of your bank account and pay bills,
Correct.
et cetera, with it. And you acknowledge that she gave you her phone for that purpose.
She gave me her phone not to pay bills, but to give her commissary and to keep up with her stuff.
Pay her bills, some to put in her commissary. And the last thing you said was pay her bills and...
Put money in her commissary and keep up with some stuff.
That's the keeping up with some stuff is what we're talking about here,
Yep.
sir. Keeping up with what stuff?
Phone bill, I mean...
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Now it's going to get difficult.
Okay, I'm listening.
Do you understand? I know you are, sir. Keeping up with other stuff. Phone bill.
She bought a...
Jump.
I'm sorry, I'll wait till you
What
ask the
else?
question.
Phone bill?
She ended up buying a computer at that time.
No, I'm asking you.
So, no, I'm telling you, that came off the monies that was there. She was incarcerated. So as a lot of things just come off the phone as a bill, like...
No, I'm asking you what you...
What did I?
What you were supposed to take care of.
It was never etched out. And what I'm saying is she wanted me to stay at her house while she was gone. And that was a means for her to keep in touch with me or keep in contact.
Okay, no. That's something that I didn't get out of this. So she wanted you to stay in her trailer, because she was living in a trailer at the time while she was incarcerated.
Yep.
Where had you been living?
At my house. That's where I currently live now, with my girlfriend.
With your girlfriend. She wanted you to stay in her trailer?
Yeah.
With your girlfriend?
No, she wanted me to be there so she can keep up with me. That was a means of me having her phone and being in her car and being other thing would be a way for her to keep up with me while she was incarcerated.
And did you like that idea, Mr. Moore?
Not
Just
really.
a second.
No.
I mean, did your girlfriend like that idea?
Not at all.
So why didn't you say to her, I don't want your phone and I don't want any responsibility. Shh, listen to me. I'm living with my girlfriend. We're not an item anymore. And I don't want that tie because my girlfriend knew that I was staying sometimes in your trailer and not being home. That wouldn't be a good thing. So I'm not going to take your phone. Find somebody. Who are you?
Andrew Porter. I'm her son.
You're her son. Mm-hmm. Is there anything wrong with you?
No.
Do you talk to your mother?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you work?
Yes.
Yeah. So your mother could have given you her phone and said, pay the bills.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
You can stand next to your mother. It was getting more fascinating by the moment.
Jill Wyatt claims her ex-boyfriend, John Moore, misused money she gave him while she was in jail. John is countersuing for a false arrest.
So, do you understand, Miss Wyatt? I know that you thought it was going to be easier when you came here.
No, I did not. But
I'm very glad, because I have a feeling I could scratch the surface and I'd find more dirt. The more I scratched.
You would.
The more I scratched. Well, I have no intention of spending my life on this nonsense, because now I see that you have a perfectly normal child, an adult child, to whom you could have assigned the task of paying your bills. And I assume that you trusted him more than you trusted this guy, who seems to have a girlfriend, but then, you know, it could be convenient. He can go here.
It's never painted that way when it's in the midst of things, but he...
Yeah, I also work out of state.
What?
I work out of state. I'm like a field engineer, so I'm only in Michigan maybe a couple weeks at a time.
That's okay.
I mean,
Paying your bills doesn't mean that you have to be in Michigan. You can pay your bills, and you could have done all of those things, except anyway, this is your case. You allege that Mr. Moore took money out of your account, a couple of $1,000.
$781 of that he gave to me while I was in jail, but the remainder, he can't account for anything that he did.
So somebody did put in your commissary?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. He said he also sent you, there was $600 in the account when he gave the phone back to you. Was there $600 in the account when you were released from jail?
The date of that?
What's the date of it, sir?
She asked the question, but the answer did I give it to her? I don't have I didn't know I was going to come to court, so I didn't. But if I look at my phone, I'm quite sure, because all our transactions were via Cash App.
What do you mean you didn't know you were coming to court? Where did you think you were coming today?
When we were in this situation, never did I think we would be sued.
Oh.
So I wasn't keeping tally.
But now you know you're coming to court, so it would seem to me if there's an allegation in your answer that I returned the phone to her, there was still $600 in the account, at least I would have that document.
Give me a second, I can get right to it.
I can give you a second.
I believe that amount was for the August rent. on it.
Just a second. All I'm asking you is, did he put $600 when he gave you the phone? Was there still $600 in the account?
No, that was like a month after. That was for August.
What do you mean it was for August? What does that mean?
For the August rent. This whole thing with not living with me and not being with me or whatever is untrue. When I got out of jail, we were supposed to be working together, living together. This was no anything like he's describing with having somebody else or anything like that.
I would like to see, Mr. Moore, when you gave her back the phone, that there was $600 on the phone.
It's her phone. I'm not
Just
sure.
Just a second.
I'm saying I don't have evidence of her phone.
Okay. Now.
But if you asked her, she'll tell you I gave her $600.
You say that the money that you used, and you acknowledge that you used some of the money, was because you drove her car for a half a block.
Nope, it was more than a half a block.
Well, just a second, let me see.
It says that.
Just a second. I drove her car 1 block to my job. So it wasn't a half a block. Just a second. I drove her car 1 block. I apologize, it wasn't half a block. Put your hand down. To my job when she was in jail, and the alternator went out, and it was impounded. Now explain that to me. You drove her car, you had your own. For some reason, you drove hers. Why don't you give me a 1 sentence as to why you drove hers?
1 sentence.
1 sentence.
On my truck, I had my equipment, my lawn equipment, and I was just going 1 block away, so I didn't want to have to turn it around. And the car was impounded at my job, 1 block away from my house.
Why was it impounded?
Because it stopped on it. The alternator stopped.
Just a second. Cars aren't impounded because an alternator stopped.
The alternator stopped in the middle of the street. I couldn't move it. They had to tow it because it was in the driveway. They towed the car because the alternator stopped.
What you said? Well, that's your fault, sir.
It's my fault her alternator went out?
Yes, sir. It's your fault that the car was impounded.
I'm listening. No, I'm really trying to understand.
I want you to listen. Yes, it's your fault. And I don't know what other nonsense there is here, but if Sarah was driving her car and it stopped running because the alternator went out, I'm going to take a guess and I'm going to say, Sarah, what would you do if your car stopped running in a driveway, blocking the driveway? What would you do?
Call AAA.
Call AAA. Call a tow truck. And you would call a tow truck and ask the tow truck to take it to a
auto repair shop.
To an auto repair shop. Your first clue would not be just to leave the truck there and say, send it to impound.
No, it happened.
Just a second. Mr. Moore, please try not to test yourself on the dumb scale. Nobody who's responsible because a car breaks down leaves it in the middle of the road to be impounded. That doesn't make sense. It's illogical. Second thing I'm concerned about is when your car is impounded, in order to get it out of impound, which you say that you did, you have to show proof of title.
Yes.
Yes. Now, how did you get proof of title?
Because I had the title. I had the title.
Just a second. I hear the wheels. I hear. You have the title because
I had access to her house.
Well, the title is in her name.
Right.
They wouldn't give you the car. You're not her. I mean, I would look at you and I say, not even close. Unless she gave you authorization in writing to get the car out for her, no impound service is going to let you take her car because anybody can pick up a title and say, I want that car out. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you want to try that again with me?
Here's my question. I end up getting a...
No, just a second.
Okay.
I want you to tell me where it was impounded.
It was impounded at my job. It was impounded and it was in a place that was a high traffic. I walked back to the house.
I want to tell you something. You wouldn't know the truth if it came up and slapped you in the face, Mr. Moore.
That's what happened.
You wouldn't know the truth if it came up and slapped you in the face and introduced itself to you.
Okay.
Now, how much did it cost to get the car out of impound?
It cost me $1,000 total.
No, it didn't cost you anything because you took it out of her phone. Didn't cost you. It cost $1,000
to get it insured, retitled, so I could have the ability to get the car out.
Well, how did you get her name on the title?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? She has to sign it over to you in order to...
It was already signed over to me. It was already signed over. It was already signed. I sell cars, Miss Judy.
Just a second. You don't sell cars. You just told me that your car broke down on the way to your place of business.
Yeah, to my job.
On your job, and your job is not an auto mechanic or salesman for a car service, which is what you told me. I sell cars, Miss Judy. That's why the title was turned over to me, signed over, and I managed to get the car titled in my name. You want to try this on for me?
Judge Judy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you, but I was in a situation where it was impounded. They were charging $30 every single day, and she would have lost her car. So
just say you...
Just a second.
No, I didn't.
Just a second.
I didn't forge anything.
Well, you had to have forged something, sir, because if it was in impound, and what you're saying is they were charging $30 a day, she was going to lose her car. Your next statement was, because you keep digging that hole a little deeper and a little deeper, you couldn't get it out because the car was in her name, not yours, but you had the title because you had access to the trailer, which is what she's suggesting, and you went and forged her signature, got a new title, got insurance, and the car was clearly towed, but you got it out of impound, that's what you said, with a new title in your name and insurance, also I assume in your name.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do with the car?
Gave it back to her when she got out.
Just a second. You gave it back to her. Did you sign over the title?
Yes.
Shh.
Jill Wyatt has accused her ex-boyfriend, John Moore, of stealing her money while she was in jail. John is countersuing, claiming Jill had him falsely arrested.
Now, did you sign over the title to her?
I signed over everything to her because she sold the car since then.
Oh, did you sell the car?
Since all this?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. But
I'm what?
He's what?
I had to go through police department and the sheriff's department and threaten him in order to get my title back. He would not give me back my title.
Not at all.
Do you have any
truth.
proof of that?
Any proof of?
That you had to go through the police department, sheriff's department, or anything else in order to get your title back? Do you have any proof of that at all?
I don't have any proof of that, ma'am.
Okay. So it was $1,000 for impound that he took out of your account.
Correct.
That's $1,000.
No.
And
Okay.
did you take out $1,000 from her account to get it out of impound? Well, you just said, show me that you paid $1,000 to get it out of impound.
I can't show it to you because all the paperwork was in the car.
Did you pay impound by credit card or
paid
cash?
It by cash.
Cash. Then you would have taken cash out.
I had
from...
a job, Judge Judy.
You're so full of baloney, sir.
I did have a job, Judge Judy.
You're so full of baloney. Okay, $1,000.
Okay.
Next, you say in your answer, Mr. Moore, that you paid for it. You paid for it out of her money. You say in your answer you paid for it out of her money.
Judy, us kind of going back and forth.
Listen.
We've split money back and forth. If I give you a copy of our Cash App, it's the exact same money back and forth over the last couple of years. I sent her money, she sent me.
Just a second. Why would she do that, sir, if you have a girlfriend?
I'm
Why would you do
monogamously
that if you...
challenged.
Shh, listen. Why would you do that back and forth if what you said to me earlier was, I don't know what she's talking about. I live with my girlfriend in the same place as I'm living now. Now let's move on to, so far I have $1,000. And I really, Miss Wyatt, don't understand anything else. And I'm not spending any more time with your case. That's the person who should have been taking care of your business,
yes.
Not this nonsense.
Yes.
Not this nonsense, because I'm not exactly
believe
sure whether I'm getting the whole story from this side either. All right, now you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for $2,000 for having you falsely arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
Let us move on with falsely arrested. After she gets out of jail, according to what I read, the two of you are kaput.
No.
Well, okay, here we go. We're going to go back to your answer and your counterclaim, sir. I'm going to read you what I said. On February 13th, I went out to a few bars to have a good time. Jill was at a different bar, but came and met me where I was at. Upon arrival, you're not paying attention.
Yes, I am listening to you.
On arrival, Jill started to pressure me to leave with her. I reminded her that we were no longer an item, and I didn't want to leave. She was making a scene, so we went outside to finish our conversation. That's your counterclaim. Now, pick it up from there. That's what you wrote. Try to remember.
I wasn't going anywhere.
Okay.
And then she told me, I'll show you. But you told me this thing's, Judge Judy, if it's not accurate, would you want me to let you go ahead? Because I didn't write that. I signed it to them. They told me I'd be able to explain this to you as we're doing this here. I stopped and said, hell no, that didn't happen. No, we didn't fight. It wasn't one block. They said, you'll get a chance to explain that to the judge.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't listen to anybody else. So when you sign a document that says, I Lash
we
Moore,
weren't idle.
being
We didn't
duly
live
sworn, deposes and says that this is accurate.
We didn't live together. We still
Would
knew
you
each other.
mind telling me what happened in the bar on February 13th?
She told me she was going to get me locked up for domestic violence because I had assaulted her. I had not assaulted her. I told her whatever, and I walked back into the bar, sat down, the police pulled up, and they said, sir, would you come step outside? Excuse me. They said, would you come step outside? I stepped outside. They said, put your hands behind your back. We're locking you up for domestic violence.
May I please have a copy of your complaint?
I can give you all this, what I have from...
Don't give me all that you have.
So you saying the complaint, I was arrested on the spot.
There was a disposition in that case.
Yes, they dismissed it.
Okay.
This is all complaint to the disposition.
Oh, here we go. The case was dismissed in the interests of justice because you agreed to pay her restitution for just a second.
Yeah.
That's what you agreed to pay her restitution in the amount of $246, which I assume represents the broken eyeglasses that she says that you broke. This says receipt of restitution monies. Same case. I, John Moore, state that I have delivered a check in the amount of $246 to the Calhoun County Prosecutor's Office. It is my understanding that this check represents the amount of restitution that is owed to the victim, according to the agreement entered into by the defendant. So you paid restitution.
Excuse me. Judge, I'm trying to, if you say something, I want to clarify.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Did you
Just
sign
tell me
this?
when I can talk.
Did you sign this?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you're cooked.
So if
it's over.
I got a question for you.
No, I don't answer your questions.
If I get off of work, I've been in this court case 5 times in a row. It cost me $200 and some to come to court, and they said we'll dismiss all charges. There'll be no charges at all if you agree to pay $250. I've paid $800 coming to court. So
Right.
Why wouldn't I just say, hey, here, I'll pay you the money, and then try to sue you for false arrest? Because I never harmed. Where's the glasses at?
Right. Now,
Where's the picture of the glasses? The police arrested me on the spot.
Mr. Moore, like a perennial victim, I really feel sorry for you. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
So if I'm
just a
getting
second,
arrested
Mr.
for
Moore,
doing anything, why wouldn't I pay
it's dismissed.
$250
Judgment
and
for
not
the
have to go to
plaintiff
court?
in the amount of $1,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I am finished with this case permanently.
Thank you. Have a great day.
This court is adjourned.
It went just like I thought it would be.
I'm pleased with the results.
She mad. I don't want to deal with her anymore.
My guards are up now.
Hey, she wanted to get her day in court. I can leave with it.
Not ask anybody for help.
She the one was locked up for. I've never been locked up for stealing. She was locked up for stealing. That's the thief. The pot calling the kettle black.
Just to be careful who you trust.
There was a great line from the defendant out there. I don't think anyone caught it. But when you asked, how is it possible that you could live with the plaintiff and have your girlfriend and all at the same time? How's that possible? And then he moved on to something else and continued rambling. But he said, Miss Judy, I'm monogamously challenged. I'm monogamously challenged.
No,
and I heard it and I
didn't
started
hear it.
laughing and I saw no one else made any sort of reaction. And I said, I must have been the only one that heard that, or I misheard that. But I'm pretty sure that was his excuse.
It's a great line, and it's true.
Yeah, it seemed very true in that case.
I have a feeling there's a lot more there.
Yeah.
But it was
a lot more dirt to
a
scratch
lot more
through,
there,
I'm sure.
but enough.
Oh.
That's a funny line. Monogamously challenged.
Cecilia Morrow is suing her ex-boyfriend, Saeed Rodriguez, for stolen property and assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3100, Moreau versus Rodriguez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Moreau, you and Mr. Rodriguez met. You began a friendship. Could you give the dog to your witness, please? You met the defendant at your place where you were both working, became friends. Shortly thereafter, you began dating, and in May of last year, you moved in together.
Yes.
Did you move into your apartment, to his apartment, or was it an apartment that you got together as a couple?
Yes, we got it together.
Who was on the lease?
It was both of us.
In October of the same year, 4 or 5 months later, you broke up.
Yes.
And your lawsuit is about what happened at the breakup and as a result of the breakup. According to your complaint, in October, the day that you, in fact, broke up, you had a fight with Mr. Rodriguez. He put his hands on you. He assaulted you. You left the house. And when you left the house, you left and went and stayed with your parents.
Yes.
You claim that Mr. Rodriguez has some property that belongs to you
Yes.
in the house, and that the assault that took place was serious enough that you should be compensated for it, despite the fact that there was no police involvement in this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were no hospital records or no doctor's records.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you didn't go to the hospital or seek any medical care, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The defendant says that there was an argument. You did, in fact, break up. After you broke up, you came to his house, and there was an argument, and you did, in fact, assault him. He denies that he assaulted you at all at the beginning of October when you broke up. And he says that when you left, you agreed that he could keep the 2 corgis that you had together in the apartment. This is one of them, and that was in October. And sometime in December, this is his complaint, you called and said, could you take the dogs for 2 days? He said, okay, because there was a threat, and you haven't returned the dogs. He would like the corgis back. Correct? Now, this is one of the corgis. Where's the other?
He was too big to fit on the plane. He's at home.
Okay, so when were the corgis purchased?
Her I got of March of last year, and the other one, Chip, I got in June of last year.
So you had one when you and the defendant moved in together?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Is this the one you had when you moved in together?
Yes.
So all the dogs were purchased after you lived together?
Yes.
Who were the dogs purchased from?
Her I got from Petland in Frisco, and the boy he found on Craigslist.
He found the dog because you wanted a second dog?
Yes.
Who paid for the dog at Petland?
I did.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is the dog registered?
Yeah.
And that's this dog?
Yes.
Sir, this is part of your complaint. You want this dog back?
Yes, ma'am.
You neither purchased the dog, correct?
Correct.
The dog is not registered in your name, correct?
Correct.
Why would you think I would give you this dog?
Because the entirety of our relationship since we bought Fatty, I was the one taking care of her in the mornings. I would wake up 6 in the morning or whatever time it was, take her out, whether it was freezing cold, hot, raining.
Who cares?
And
who cares?
Of course, but also I have here pictures where she, once after the breakup, she was stating that she can't keep the dog's not worth the money.
If you have statements that suggest that she gave you the dog, I'll read them. But on its face, the fact that you walk the dog in the morning or in the afternoon or at night has no relevance to this whatsoever.
Well, I have the messages where she's saying that the dog is, not worth anything. I need to get rid of her. She's bad. She's telling me to come pick her up.
May I see those, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Here you go.
What are you selling? Who's selling something?
She is stating that she wants to sell the dog.
That Chip?
That is the other dog, yeah.
Well, one she bought, and it's in her name, so that's definitely hers.
And also,
that's Fatty, right?
Yes.
And Chip, sir?
So it was about both of them. From the day we broke up, I kept the dogs because she couldn't keep them. She couldn't take care of them. She left them in the cage all day. And I also have evidence where, her family members are throwing cheese at her face, mistreating the dogs.
Show me. Dog looks perfectly happy to me.
Oh, you can press play.
What was that big piece of cheese that was thrown in the dog's eye?
That was my dad from TikTok.
Who did that to
my
the
dad? He has a TikTok account. It's a trend on TikTok to throw it on babies' faces and dogs.
That's terrible.
It's a trend.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's a stupid trend. I didn't partake in it, but...
Why would I leave this dog in a house with a stupid person who takes out that stupidity on an animal to put a thing up on TikTok? That's absolutely outrageous.
We take care of them. They're fine.
No, you don't.
What's wrong with you? Why would you even think that that's reasonable?
Cecilia Morrow has accused her ex-boyfriend, Saeed Rodriguez, of assaulting her and stealing property. Saeed is countersuing for the return of 2 corgis and claims he was the one assaulted.
Why did you leave the dogs at his house for 2 months?
It wasn't 2 months straight. It was probably like a week or two
No,
straight.
it wasn't a week or two. What do you mean straight? You had a fight in October.
Yeah. We were co-parenting, I guess, with the dogs because I was working and so was he. So we couldn't.
Are you telling me after you broke up?
Yes.
How could you be co-parenting with somebody? You mean you would go to his house and get the dogs, or he would bring them to your house?
He would come to my house to pick them up and drop them off, and it would same way with.
And he would see you?
Yes.
He would see you?
Yes.
Did you have conversations with him?
Nothing important.
Well, I want you to tell me, after you broke up, how did you arrange that you would co-parent for the dogs?
There wasn't really an agreement. It was just, I'm busy, can you pick him up? Yes, and then same.
Not true.
All right. This argument that you had in October when you broke up, you want to tell me about it, and then I'm going to get back to the dogs.
So he assaulted me. He punched a hole in a TV. He bought the TV, but still, he punched it because I told him if he was going to put his hands on me, then we're actually done. But he punched the TV instead, and I have pictures of what he did that night.
I don't care if he punched a hole in the TV. It's his TV.
Yeah, he punched holes in the apartment that we were staying at as well.
You're still in the apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's still there. Did you take her name off the lease?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't care what he did to the apartment, madam. He's still in the apartment. He's going to have to pay for any damage. Let's move. You didn't call the police as a result of whatever incident happened in the house. You said he got mad at you. He accused you of cheating. That's what you said in the complaint. He came in, he jumped up on top of the bed, and then he choked you, and then he hit you. You have photographs of that.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. I'm just going to take this. I don't know what this is from. Clearly shows that something happened in her mouth. I'm not exactly sure what. She has 2 marks that she's showing me. Now, did you hit her in the mouth?
No, Your Honor.
You tell me in your own words what happened the night that she came home and you accused her of cheating.
So the night that she came home, I told her, I'm like, what are you doing? Where did you go? She starts trying to make up excuses. I show her messages. I'm like, okay, you're lying to me. I don't appreciate it. She starts going off. I start going off. Just a verbal argument. And just like how she assaulted me.
No. She didn't touch you that night.
She pushed me.
Tell me how that took place, sir, that she pushed you.
She's a very angry person, and...
No. How it came about that she pushed you.
Well, started arguing back and forth about how she wasn't doing anything wrong. I told her, yes, you are.
And now you're fighting verbally back and forth.
Yes.
And she pushed you. She put her hands on your chest.
And she...
Show me how she pushed you. Show me on your roommate how she pushed you. Go ahead. And
she just started trying to slap me.
And
at that moment, that's when I pushed her over and I told her, do not put your hands on me.
Just a second. So you pushed her over?
Yes, to defend myself.
You pushed her over. All right. So this is your problem, sir. You said nothing happened that night. You said in your answer nothing happened that night.
I have a copy of the police report that I reported.
I'm going to look at it in a second. Now, you say here, I never assaulted Cecilia. We have plenty of arguments during the relationship, but I've never assaulted her. She has a tendency to blow things out of proportion. I have never put my hands on a woman in my life. Well, that's not true. You just told me you did.
That's self-defense.
You didn't say that here. You said, I've never put my hands on a woman in my life.
Would that be considered assault in self-defense?
No. That's not what you said. Okay, now I'll see the police report. Okay, so what you did is you came home after you were drinking for the night. That's what you told the police, that you had a night of drinking and you had a fight. He wanted to know where you were. She said the argument became physical. The defendant here grabbed her and pinned her onto the bed while he laid on top of her, holding her arms down. Proceeded to take his right hand and bruised and cut her lips. She was dizzy but did not lose consciousness. It was not because of the alcohol she had previously consumed. Cecilia said she eventually left the room and went to sleep. Just a second. So after this incident, when he allegedly hit you, causing this injury to your lip, you went back to living with him?
Yes.
Yeah? I'm reading this thing, and I said, well, she said she was assaulted. She left. She went home, and she went to live with her parents. But you didn't. You went back to sleep, and then you stayed with him because this incident, the one that you just described to me, happened on September 10th. And you went to the police on October 24th.
Yeah.
Then there was an incident on October 19th. She said you had another argument, but he did not strike her because she threatened to leave if he did. Instead, he punched holes in the apartment. She decided to leave after that and no longer is living with him. Okay. Now, later on in the month, after the 19th, because now I am not considering what happened on September 10th, because you went back to live with him. Between September 10th and October 19th, did you share a bed? That's a question.
Yes.
Every day?
No.
4 days a week?
No.
5 days a week? You were living together until the 19th of October.
Yes.
Where did you live?
Well, we had couches as well as a bed, so we weren't always sleeping together.
That's not true.
I don't believe you. Okay, good. So I'm not even considering the 10th of September. Later on, there was an incident where he says you assaulted him. You came to his house where he was living now. You were living at your parents' house, right?
Yes.
And you came to the house. What date was that?
It was like 2 or 3 days after the breakup.
Was the breakup in October?
Yes, Your Honor. It was October 12th.
October 12th. Got it. You tell me what happened on October 12th. Did you go to his house?
I can't remember.
She was living with me.
She was living with you?
Until that day, October 12th.
I moved out October 31st. I was still living with him on that incident that happened on October 12th. We broke up, and that's when he punched the... I have pictures right here.
I heard punching the hole in the wall. I'm not interested. He still lives there. He's going to have to fix the hole in the wall.
No, I'm saying that's why we broke up, because I told him if he put his hands on me, then... But he punched the TV instead.
Now we're talking about his allegation that you assaulted him.
I did not touch him.
That is false.
That's your counterclaim that you have. Then I have to figure out what to do with these dogs.
So I have pictures and I have messages where...
I want to know when it happened and where.
Let me show you.
No, I want you to tell me. When did it happen and where?
It was a day or two after I left, which might have been October 14th or 15th. And she was upset because I had already picked up Fatty because she asked me to. She texted me, I want my stuff back. I want the dog back. And I told her, I was like, no, if you already filed the lawsuit against me, let's just go about it the legal way. I told her, do not show up at my house, which I clearly have messages where I state not to show up. And in those messages, she threatens to murder me, find me, and kill me. At that moment, I told her, if you do not leave, I will call the cops. And in that second, she lashed out, grabbed my neck, and scratched my whole neck and my shoulder. And that's...
What date was that?
So October 14th or 15th.
And then you went to the police on October 24th for the first time?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can I see your photographs, please? Did you report this to the police?
I called the police in the incident. That's why she attacked me.
Just a second. Did the police respond?
The police did respond. They did not want to take a report.
Kevin, would you show this to the plaintiff, please?
He pulled a gun out on me, and that's why I brought her as my witness, because she was there and saw everything that happened that night.
Cecilia Morrow claims her ex-boyfriend, Saeed Rodriguez, owes for an assault and personal property. Saeed is countersuing for the return of 2 corgis and says he was the one assaulted.
Now, did he pull a gun out before this happened? I want you to explain exactly how it happened.
The reason I went to his house is because I noticed on my credit card that he spent $600 on a PS5. He's 22, by the way.
What is a PS5?
A console for gaming with those kids play Fortnite, yeah.
Okay, so he spent money from your credit card?
Yes.
Okay, had you contacted him about it?
Yes,
Where you
I
went?
have, yes.
Okay.
And he took my dog as well, and she is my ESA animal. I can't be separated from her.
That's not true.
She is my ESA animal.
She's what?
My ESA animal, emotional support animal. It's registered with the government. Do you want to see the...
I'm not interested.
Okay.
Do you work?
Yes, I do. I'm a realtor as well as a financial advisor.
Do you see a therapist regularly?
I need to.
Yep, that's not what I asked you. Do you see a therapist regularly?
No.
Who did you get to write the letter for you that indicated that this corgi that you left behind is an emotional support animal? That's a question. Madam, look at me. It had to be a doctor, correct?
Yes, it is.
It had to be a doctor.
Yes.
What's the name of the doctor?
I have
No. The answer is you don't know offhand the name of the doctor. Is that right?
Yes.
Does the doctor live in the area where you live?
No.
How many times did you personally visit this doctor?
Not once. It was registered through online.
The answer is never.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me that I should look at a certificate that some doctor gave you online that you needed a support animal when you are not in any psychiatric care and haven't been. The doctor never examined you, but for a fee, pay attention, for a fee, wrote you a letter so that you could make this an emotional support dog. Now I want you to tell me in what month.
May. And I have the registration if you want to take a look at it.
I don't want to take a look at it at all. It's nonsense. You know it's nonsense, and I know it's nonsense. Now, there are several reasons why you get these nonsense online from close the cover before you strike doctors that will attest to the fact that you need a therapy dog in order to survive. There are several reasons for it. You want to take it to work?
No.
What was the reason? There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
I'm really smart.
I know.
Really smart.
It was so we didn't have to pay the pet deposit, so when we got the apartment.
There you go. So it was a fraud.
No, but that
Just a second. So it was a fraud. So you committed a fraud, so you didn't have to pay a pet deposit for your animals. When I asked you, you want to read me back the answer when I asked her, do you see a psychiatrist? And she said, no, but I need one. And you knew you needed one in May when you had to pay the pet deposit.
No, I need
You
two.
two people are really cute. Is that what she said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Rodriguez, the plaintiff owns the dog. She owns the dog. She paid for the dog. It's registered in her name. The fact that you were a good caretaker, I can't help you with that. The dog looks as if it's in pretty good shape. Believe me, if the dog didn't look as if it was in pretty good shape, somehow I would find a way. But right now, the dog looks as if it's in pretty good shape. I'm directing the plaintiff, however, that in the event that she has to remove the dogs from her parents' house where she's living, that she's precluded from selling them or giving them away until she gives you an opportunity to take them. I'm also directing you, because I assume you live with your parents and I assume your father's going to be watching this, or I would tell him when I got home that the judge called you a moron.
I will.
You can tell him that.
I will.
And I suggest to you that if you want to own a pet, I've had pets all my life, you have to protect your pet from morons.
Yes.
Whether they be little children who are morons or adults who have nothing better to do than to make TikTok videos using somebody else as a fall person. Frightening. As far as the assaults are concerned, I find that you both assaulted each other on 2 different days. There's no question in my mind that you assaulted him, and there's no question in my mind that as a result of her pushing you, and you have a temper because I know that you broke some of the things in your apartment, that you did, in fact, do something in her mouth. It didn't remove her teeth, but clearly, whatever you did to her face caused her lip to hit her tooth, which caused it to have a bruise on it. Anything else that I have to consider?
Yes, all the furniture that I left at the apartment.
Did you have a moving company come and move stuff for you? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
I read the papers. You
Yes.
did. On what date did you have a moving company come?
It was November 1st.
When you hired the moving company, did you give them a list of things to move?
Yes.
And did they move the list of the things that you gave them to move?
Yes.
Correct? And they moved them.
Yes.
So that part of your case is dismissed. It's over. She's keeping the dogs. And we're done here. Case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
That's what happens when you get in narcissistic relationships. People manipulate you. I was with him since I was 15. I'm 19 now.
Honestly, I was pretty upset with the outcome of the dogs.
I haven't talked to him in months. This is the first time I've seen him in forever.
She kept coming back. I mean,
I don't like him. I don't want him ever.
done means done, man.
What's done is done.
I was so surprised when I found out that she was only 19. Not a real stable place in your life to be getting a dog, and let alone 2, when you're not settled. You know, I think that's so unfair for dog owners when they're not settled. And, you know, it's just unfortunate.
There's an immaturity.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying to me is there's an immaturity. Problem is when you're immature, you don't realize that it's a mistake because an immature person is making a mature judgment. What I actually found, I mean, it was stupid. It wasn't as if it did something horrendous to the dog, but frightened the dog by throwing this square of cheese at its eye.
Well, I've seen the trend, and it actually did start on babies, throwing slices of cheese on babies' heads in high chairs.
What is happening to the world?
Yeah.
What's happening
Too
if
much
somebody
time on
thinks
their
that
hands.
that's funny
Yeah.
to startle a baby or to startle a creature in order to make somebody else laugh?
Yeah.
You know,
the world we live in today.
If morons want to do that, let them stick a broomstick someplace and take a TikTok picture of it on themselves.
Yeah.
On themselves.
I'm with
Why
you.
choose some other living creature? I don't understand that.
I'm with you.
I would build more jails. You, sir, you had a big fight because you weren't paying rent.
She got crazy, punched me in the face, and I fell in the chair into the glass. She started picking up the glass and stabbing me with it.
That's not true.
He has pictures, bleeding.
I was trying to grab the chair.
Before or after you stabbed him with the glass?
The chair actually collided with the mirror, and the mirror broke.
I don't believe a word of that.
This is Judy Justice. DeAndre Benton is suing his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, for personal belongings, lost wages, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3119, Benton versus Rayford.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Benton, it is your claim that the defendant who rented a room in her home to you
Yes, ma'am.
assaulted you, disposed of your property,
Correct.
and because of all the turmoil, you missed time at work.
Yes, ma'am.
You want $7,500.
Yes.
That's what you're asking for. Defendant says that you assaulted her. She had lost wages. She had pain and suffering as a result of this assault, which I assume took place on the same day.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. How did you find the room in Miss Rayford's home?
It was on a roommate app, like Roomster, to be exact.
On what date did you find the ad?
June 15th,
And where was it located?
Atlanta, Georgia, 30311.
So that was in June. And you looked at the room?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the rent?
It was negotiated to be $750.
$750 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing then?
Well, I was working fast food at the moment.
When did you move in?
July 15th.
July 15th.
15th, yes, ma'am.
And how much rent did you pay for the month of July?
This full amount, $750. I paid $250 to hold the room and $509 for the remaining balance.
In the month of August, tell me what rent you paid her and when.
I did give her.
Look at me. Be very careful with me. I want you to be very careful with me. How much rent did you give her in the month of August?
I didn't give her anything.
How much rent did you give her in September?
She wasn't there.
How much rent did you pay anyone in September?
I paid her a portion of the rent.
What do you mean a portion of the rent? It was my understanding that you owned this home.
Yes,
No,
Your
she
Honor.
didn't.
That is correct.
Just a second.
She didn't own the home. To my knowledge, she wasn't even supposed to be renting out the home to have rooms.
Just a second. I'm just asking you, you're now living in somebody's house.
Mm-hmm.
And you agreed to pay $750 a month rent.
Mm-hmm.
Is a yes.
Yes.
And you paid no rent
Well, that
for
was
the month of August.
That was because when I did come into the home on the 31st, I moved in on the 15th like I communicated to you. On the 30th, my belongings was outside the home. I had to sleep outside like an animal.
Okay. What about in September? You were still in the home in September.
Yeah, I was still in the home in September
She
going
was
through the
still
same
in?
issue.
Just a second. You were
it was-
still, you're not going to talk over me. You were still in the home in September.
Mm-hmm.
Not That's a yes.
Yes.
You were still in the home in September. And how much rent did you pay in September?
I paid her $500 in
Just a second. In September, you paid her $500.
Yes.
Okay. October.
Nothing was paid.
After that, you paid no rent.
No.
Okay. Where are you living now?
I live with a friend now.
That's a lie. That's a lie. We just checked.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I used
Well, just
to
a second.
before I moved.
Just a second. Stupid is not here, sir.
Pretty aware.
Stupid is not here. So now you're a squatter in a place where you're paying no rent and you live with him?
No, ma'am. I have my own place.
Oh, good. Because he doesn't live with you. He's living in a place where he doesn't pay rent. He moved in and stopped paying. I'm not finished with you either. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Very good. So if you understand, you weren't living outside like an animal, and you've been living for August, September, October, November, December, January and February, 7 months in a place in which you pay no rent.
Well, can I ask a question? How am I supposed to pay rent when I had several eviction notices and she wasn't there to show up?
Then leave. Then leave.
I mean,
you're a squatter. You are a squatter.
She told me I didn't
You're
have
a
to.
squatter. Well, if she told you that you don't have to, then the two of you are in collusion here.
I'm not talking about it, ma'am.
Who told you you didn't have to pay?
The judge, because I didn't say the judge didn't say I had to pay. The judge said I did not have to leave, that she didn't find a reason to eviction of me because she didn't show up and provide her evidence.
I'm just telling you, you're a squatter. You don't pay rent. Everybody else here pays a mortgage, pays a maintenance. You moved in and you became a squatter. And I don't care what some other nitwit said to you, you're a squatter. So you get 0 for the rent, for your property. I'll get to the assault in a minute. I read your answer. When did you purchase the house?
June 3rd,
June of what?
2021.
What was your mortgage?
The first year, from June when I moved in 2021, it was $1,575 a month.
For the mortgage?
Correct. June of 2022, it increased by $40 and went to $1,615.
In what month did you stop paying the mortgage?
September of 2023.
Why?
DeAndre Benton claims his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, threw away his property and assaulted him. Chauncey is countersuing for property damage and says she was the one assaulted.
Now, in what month did you stop paying the mortgage?
Well, to be completely honest with you,
Yeah, I don't want you to be dishonest with me. You have to be honest with me because I know everything.
Yes, ma'am. I got laid off. I was okay, just living off of savings for a few months. Things got hard.
Just a second, you got laid off from what job, where?
Carvana, and this was November of 2022.
All right, so you've already been laid off for a year, and you're telling me you paid your mortgage until September?
Yes, ma'am. I was doing anything I could from an app called InstaWork.
Okay, so then you stopped paying your mortgage in September?
Yes.
And when did they foreclose on your house?
October 23rd was the date that I was told that myself and DeAndre needed to be out of the
I just asked you a question. They foreclosed on the house in October.
Yes.
Where did you go?
I had to move back with my mother in the state of Missouri. I lost everything. My job, the home, my dog.
Okay, so now the bank owns the house.
Yes, correct.
And he's been squatting in the
there.
house since October.
Yes, he will not leave.
Get out of here. Now, I've listened to what you just said just about the ownership of the house and when she turned it back to the bank. You said in your brief questioning before that she didn't own the house. She was a renter.
You know, I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, and she knew that. I wasn't even aware of that.
That's not
Well, just a second. If she owns the house, you can be there.
She doesn't own the house.
She doesn't own it anymore.
She never did.
Well, show me proof of that. Okay, that I'd like to see. Were you renting with an option to buy?
Yes, ma'am, with the option.
Ah, I got it now. He's absolutely right. You were not the owner of the house. You were a renter, and you had an option to buy.
Correct. And I was going to do so.
I shoulda, woulda, coulda. You two people actually deserve each other. Because what you suggest in your papers is that you ran into hard times and you let the bank take the house. Well, you didn't let the bank do anything because you didn't own the house. You were a renter and you stopped paying rent. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, you both deserve each other. I don't know who you're not paying rent to. Somebody owns this house. And they've been probably trying to get you out of the house for a very, very long time.
The person that owned the home came to the home and said she was already far behind before I even moved in. That's the whole reason why I
Who
came.
cares? What are you doing in a place where you're not paying rent? You're not supposed to be there. You're a squatter.
Do I look like a squatter?
You are one. You live in a place that's not yours. You're not paying rent. You're a squatter.
Yeah, for people that don't try to pay rent. At least I was trying to pay the rent. Every
Listen,
other time
I try to make a baby every once in a while, but I'm 81 years old. It doesn't happen. All right. I want to hear something about this assault that happened when you were both living in this place that belonged to somebody else, and neither one of you was paying rent.
She was paying.
Who are you?
I'm her witness.
Were you there when this assault
Yes,
took place?
I was.
Okay, then I'll hear you after I hear them. Now, what is the date of this alleged
October
assault?
10th.
October 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were still living there, not paying rent as of September and October. She was still living there.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what happened.
So I came outside out of my room. She was already being aggressive about the non-paying rent. And I've already been trying to be communicative with her.
Not
I
true.
said, hey.
I don't want to hear you.
I'm not speaking, Your Honor.
Who is?
Me. I'm sorry.
Out.
Okay.
Then you're done.
This way.
That way. Out.
Lord.
Go ahead.
Basically,
Now, I don't want to hear basically. I want to hear, to the best of your recollection, on October 10th, 2023, you were both in the house. You were in your room.
she got crazy. Basically, long story short, she got crazy. I tried to come inside the house and sit in the chair. The lady pulled the chair from me. I have the pictures and everything of it. Pulled the chair from me. punched
Which
me.
lady?
This one right here.
Pulled the chair out from under you, tried to sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
Pulled the chair out from me, punched me in the face, and I fell in the chair into the glass. She started picking up the glass and stabbing me with it.
And?
And I had to call the ambulance. The police came. It took 45 minutes.
May I see the police report, please? Did you ever speak to the police, Miss Rayford?
That day?
That day?
No, ma'am. I ended up leaving because...
Okay, just a second. Don't tell me because. The police have memorialized what they saw on the 10th, and they saw him with multiple wounds on his body. Some were bandaged and some not. You were not in the house. This person, I assume, is your girlfriend.
Correct.
Okay. So the two of you were in the house. After this incident took place, whatever the incident was, the two of you left.
That's correct.
He called the police.
I'm not sure what he
Well,
did.
you didn't call the police.
No, I did not.
No. Now, so from you, I would like to see... When you left the house, ran out of the house with your girlfriend, I assume you went right to an emergency room or something as a result of the lacerations that you say you sustained as a result of this fight. So I'd like to see those records.
I did not go to seek emergency treatment because I didn't have any insurance. I just bandaged it up myself.
Well, where did you run to?
To go and get bandage.
And when did you come back to the house?
I did not. That was my last day.
So that was your last day. Okay.
That's a lie.
So now...
She did.
I would only return when he was not there to collect my things.
Oh, so you did... Just a second. So you did go back. I have a feeling I was right.
He would not be there when I would return. I have text messages of me asking my neighbor to let me know when he's not there as well. I have photos.
I'm going to look at both your photos, and then you're going to tell me your version of what happened.
Yes.
Because there's no question that he was injured, because the police memorialized that. I assume he has photographs as well. Now, I want you to tell me your version of what happened.
I was working from home. He was already up that morning, and he was the one being loud. He was sitting at my workstation, and I kept asking him politely to move so that I can go ahead and start working. He refused to move. He told me he had a right to sit wherever he wanted to in the home. Now, mind you, he's never...
Just a second. Did you pull the chair out from under him?
DeAndre Benton has accused his former roommate, Chauncey Rayford, of throwing away his belongings and assaulting him. Chauncey is countersuing, claiming DeAndre damaged property and assaulted her.
Okay. Did you pull the chair out from under him?
No, he was not sitting at it at that time. I was trying to move myself. He had walked outside the front door, and as he did that, I was trying to grab the chair, and he ran towards it and sat in it. And that's when the chair actually collided with the mirror, and the mirror broke at that point.
And then?
And then he proceeded to pick up pieces of glass, and I have the photos of my injury right here.
That's a lie.
I don't want to hear you.
He also damaged my work equipment. I had just started that job July 17th, lost my job on Friday, October 13th, because he damaged my computer. I have a police report that I filed because...
I'd like to see it.
When I did return to the home... After, stitching myself up.
You didn't stitch yourself up.
I did go and get bandages.
You didn't stitch yourself up.
Well, okay. The wrong verbiage.
Yeah.
This is what I submitted
Just
online.
a second. I asked you for your police report.
Yes.
Period.
Okay.
Show it to me.
It's right here. This is what I have filed online. After communicating with my job, they told me in order for them to...
This is on the 12th. You said this happened on the 9th.
It did happen on the 9th, Your Honor. And what I did was I was in communication with my employer to see what they felt was best because...
What does she do for a living?
She was a shift manager.
She still work?
Yes, she works.
Well, why wasn't she paying rent?
We don't live together. She had her own place.
Interesting. Okay, you wanted to say something to me?
Yes, that's actually a lie. As far as me assaulting her, I never once touched this lady. I never once disrespected her. I never once raised a hand at her or tried to, like, physically harm her. She was very aggressive, very disrespectful.
That's not true.
Okay, can I see your photographs, please?
This isn't sitting well with me. This was supposed to be easy. I don't have my truck or my money. Like, how does that work? And then I offered to just go down there and get it myself. And then he said that there was no place. I said, okay, but how do I get it home with no place? So this whole time he was kind of dragging me on. And then this is the picture of another truck that he sent me.
That's a picture of him.
Yeah, he's posing in front of the truck, the second truck he supposedly had bought for me.
At the auction, yeah. He just told me he bought the second truck at an auction. There's no indication that that auction house where he said he bought it sold a truck that he said that he bought, either in June or July. Got that right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have to waste any more time. You have no paperwork, Mr. McIntosh, that you bought this truck. You have no proof at all that you brought this phantom truck to her house. Why would she be asking for her money back?
Because I bought her a truck and I dropped it off in front of her house, left her the paperwork saying what's wrong with the truck in the truck. She says that she didn't want it, so I said my finder's fee was only like $400, and that's $200 for just a bus ticket to get there. She can sell the truck and get her money back. That's what I told her.
$2,700, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I hope this don't affect the relationship with my nieces and nephew.
I'm not really here to bad talk anybody. I just wanted, my money back.
I left it there with the papers and the receipts.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
She said she didn't want it. I told her she can sell it back, get her money back.
I feel like he kind of screwed it up in a way.
I just want to be a good uncle all the time.
I love when a website is so meticulous and gives us all the evidence that we need. This website had a very well planned out photos.
A towing company.
Towing and auctioneer house had every single auction, every car that was sold, photos, the username of the person who purchased it, and the price of the vehicle.
I can't imagine a company like that doing that voluntarily. And it has to be by law to be licensed in order to avoid stolen cars being auctioned off. Has to be very smart.
Yeah, good way to track the evidence.
That was the...
Annabelle Barone is suing her ex-boyfriend, Asael Arteaga, for a loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2060, Barone versus Arteaga.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Barone, case is not a very difficult one. You met Mr. Arteaga?
Arteaga.
Take your hands out of your pockets. At a bar?
Yes.
When?
Back in June of 2021.
Did you ever live together?
No.
You always maintained your own residence and he his.
Yes, the apartment I owned was always underneath my name.
But he never lived there?
No.
Good. But you bought a car.
Yes.
In what month and year did you buy a car?
I ordered a Tesla back in, if I'm not mistaken, May. And
May of what year?
May of 2021.
Was it a new car?
Yes.
Give me a rough number. How much was it?
Out the door, 72,000.
And what color did you order?
Black.
This is what the case is about, and it's going to take me very, very little time to resolve the case. You ordered the $72,000 car in black, and because of whatever strange reason, you wanted the car wrapped. Now, I think most people know what that means, and I think I know what that means. That means you take a perfectly good car and you put a different finish on it. Is that what it means?
Yes.
You buy a car that has a nice shiny finish and looks clean, and then you put something on it that, I don't know, looks like it's been sitting out under a volcano.
I guess you could say that.
What?
I guess you could say that.
I just did. And that cost money. It cost an additional, I think, according to the papers that I read, $3,800.
No, it's $3,950.
How much?
$3,950.
And you had some of that money, but you gave him, transferred to him, $1,800 on your credit card.
Yes, so it was an agreement made between...
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't. You transferred to him $1,800 towards this wrap on his car.
I made the payment for him.
You made the payment for him on a credit card?
Yes.
And according to you, your arrangement was that he would pay you back monthly $100.
Correct.
You don't dispute that.
She offered.
Yeah, she offered. And you did, in fact, on 3 separate months, pay her back $100.
Yes.
And that means that, in your view, it was a loan.
Well, it was more of a gift.
Well, then why would you pay her back $100 a month, Mr. Artiega?
Because our finances are much different.
What do you mean?
I was getting a car. I ordered a car, so it was a gift for me. Because she already knew that I was looking for a PPF, which is a paint protection film. So I'm more...
Listen to me.
Yeah.
You're not answering my question. You're doing a dance around my question. If it was a gift to you, this $1,800 towards the wrap for your car, why did you pay her back $300?
To help her out.
Yeah. And then you stopped, because that sounds ridiculous. You still have the Tesla?
I still do.
Yes. You making payments on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical superintendent.
Expensive car.
Indeed it is.
You're a single guy?
Yes.
That's what single guys do with their money. Tell me why you stopped paying her back, Mr. Artiega.
Things got sour very quick.
So things got sour with the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. And is that when you stopped paying her?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500 is what he owes you for the balance of the loan. Thank you. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
We broke up. It was a nasty breakup. There was bad feelings and tensions between the both of us.
It was a bad breakup, yes, but there's a lot more details to it.
It was just out of pettiness at the end of the day.
Because she caused a lot of rift.
I'm just not going to loan out money to just anyone from here on out.
I'm glad it's over.
And I'm really happy I get my $1,500 back.
Now that we've been here for a little while and I've been learning from you and all these cases that we've seen, still, rule number 1, never give a boyfriend money and expect to ever see it again. You will never see it again. It gets messy, it gets entangled, and we see it time and time again. So it's just hits even harder at home.
Have you noticed, Sarah, that it's probably 80-20 that women give money to boyfriends?
At least what we've seen here, yes.
You know, and if this is a microcosm of the world, and I don't know what that is, I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been doing this kind of business for 30 years, and I can't figure out why. Perfectly lovely young woman, guy's buying a $72,000 car and says, hey, babe, I'm short $1,800. Well, if you're short $1,800, buy a cheaper car.
Yeah.
You know, there are cars that cost less than $72,000. Anyway.
But women should be smarter and not agree to do that.
They ought to make mandatory watching these cases as part of a growing up process.
A lot of great life lessons, for sure.
Case 2073, Joseph versus Williams. All parties, please step forward.
Donnell Joseph is suing his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, for personal property.
Mr. Joseph, these two ladies are your half-sisters?
My half-sister and her daughter, my niece.
So What's your first name?
Martha Williams.
Martha is your half-sister.
Yes.
And your first name?
Tina.
Tina is your niece.
Yes.
And you and Martha have the same mother.
Yes.
Your mother had a house. The house was in her name. Your mother passed away in the early 70s.
Yes.
At that time, she was married to your father, not your father. Correct? No. And your father lived in the house until he died.
Yes.
And he died in what year?
2018.
Somehow the house, which had been in your mother's name, never went through a probate process. So as far as the law was concerned, the house remained in her name. It never went to her surviving spouse or her children when she passed away in the early 70s. What I'm reading is when your father passed away in 2018, the house sort of remained vacant for a while. For how long?
Since he passed away.
So nobody's lived there.
Correct.
And you knew your father passed away, I assume?
Yes.
And you knew your mother passed away?
Yes.
And after your mother passed away, she passed away in 1971 and 1972, did you ever visit with your father in that house?
I visited with my father. I lived in the house.
From when to when?
Well, I lived in the house 1963 until like 72, and I started moving out. But I would still go back to the house because it's my family home.
I want to know the last time, Mr. Joseph, you lived in the house.
1993.
So almost 30 years ago. And where have you been the last 30 years?
I've been in New York. I've been incarcerated.
You've been incarcerated from when to when?
93 to 2012.
So 1993 is when you last lived in the house.
Correct.
But you were released from prison in 2012.
Yes.
So for the last 10 years, you have not been back to the house.
I've been back to the house, but not living there as a resident.
Okay. So for 10 years.
Right.
As an adult, how old are you?
I'm 64.
As an adult, from age 54 to 64, you had access to the house, visited your father in the house.
Right.
Not before then.
Right.
Okay. And you haven't lived there full time in decades.
Correct.
This is what your lawsuit wants. You had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures, and you didn't do it.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. As long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle or a Boy Scout book. Let's start being real.
Okay.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
Your lawsuit is seeking $10,000.
Yes.
Because, according to you, the defendants disposed of your property that was invaluable. And I'm going to describe the property that you say was invaluable. A 1911 Boy Scout handbook.
Yes.
That you treasure.
Yes.
You should have taken it out of the house in 30 years if you treasured it. A mountain bike, purchased in what year?
Was it 71 to 72, around there? I know it was a 10-speed I got. That was in 1970 in the Univega.
You wanted it, this 50-year-old mountain bike? You should have taken it over the last 10 years. A vintage reel-to-reel tape player.
Yes.
You know how many of those I threw in the trash? Do you have any idea how many of those I threw in the trash? You got those a half a century ago. Oh, my God, I remember them. Big reels and how excited we were. You could talk into a microphone, and then you could hear your voice come back. And then all of a sudden, you got a phone. You could do that, the same thing. So everybody took these things, and they couldn't find enough places to dispose of them. It's not vintage anything. It's a piece of trash.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
About what?
Okay, the reel-to-reel tapes, right? Some of the tapes had speakings of my brother and Martha's daughter.
Then you should have taken them with you in 40 years. If they were treasures of yours, sir, and you're 64 years old, I would want those treasures around me. And you had 10 years after you were released from prison to go and get these treasures. And you didn't do it. You just left them in your father's house.
Because my father's house was like the treasure of all his children's property. This is how we connected to our father, because everybody is left. Everybody has died. So as long as he has...
As long as he had a bicycle?
As long as he had
a bicycle or a Boy Scout book?
The Boy Scout book was handed down to me through my father's.
Let's start being real.
Okay.
Okay, let's start being real.
Okay.
And the first draft of my published manuscript.
Yes.
Why didn't you take that with you?
For safekeeping, I let my father hold it because
Well, that's not a good idea, sir. How old was your father when he passed away?
Oh, he was 88, but my father's mind was sharp as a tack. He kept everything.
If you wanted it, your father passed in 2018, is that what you're telling me?
I couldn't get nothing out of the house. So
I don't know whether you could or whether you couldn't. When did you make just a second. When did you make an effort to remove your forget about the bike, forget about reel-to-reel tape recorder, forget about the nonsense. Your manuscript. When did you write this manuscript?
I wrote it over a couple of years. It's the first draft of this book.
It's the first draft of that book?
This book.
Well, now you have the book.
But I needed to draft it because the other draft I'm working on the second book that goes along with this book, I don't have certain notes and things that I had.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, it doesn't.
It doesn't exist anymore. Okay. And if you wanted it, you should have gotten it. In 2018, when your father died, you were out of prison. Where were you living?
I was living in New York.
And where did your father live?
He lived in Los Angeles.
Between 2012 and 2018, how many trips did you make to visit with your father?
About 3.
And when did you publish that book?
2015.
So you published that book during your father's lifetime?
Yes.
And if you needed the manuscript, you came to visit your father. A manuscript, it's this big. That's how big a manuscript is.
Yes.
Where were you living in New York?
In Albany.
You have your own apartment or your own home?
House.
Do you own or rent?
Own.
When did you purchase it?
My wife, we bought it together. It was in 2009.
So you're married?
Yes.
Have children?
No.
So you and your wife purchased a house in 2009. How much did you pay for the house?
$109,000.
Are you still living there?
Yes.
So you had plenty of room in the house. You had plenty of room for a manuscript, tapes, a manuscript that you were working on. You weren't working on the manuscript long distance. What I'm telling you, Mr. Joseph, is the things that you're suing for are nonsense.
Okay.
If things that you wanted, that a grown-up man, 64 years old, gets if he wants them, it's not that you're homeless. You have a home that you purchased. You went to visit your father 3 times, anything of value. We're not talking about furniture and antiques and a grandfather clock. We're talking about things that can fit in a tissue box. Yes. You put them in your suitcase and take them with you if they're valuable.
I couldn't visit California before that because of the conditions of my parole. So the times that I could go, I can go out there, and I had to have.
You told me you went out there 3 times.
Yes.
When your father was alive.
When I had permission to go. So I couldn't. After my father passed away, I couldn't go in the house because that would violate the probate thing. So I had permission to go into the house.
You're not understanding me, Mr. Joseph.
Okay.
You're not understanding me. You went there 3 times after you were out of prison, after you had a home, after you were married. When you went there with a suitcase, don't tell me violating your parole unless you told me that. And in the suitcase should have been when you returned from California to New York, small things of value that you say were invaluable to you, including a manuscript. Forget the bicycle. Forget the tape-to-tape reel recorder. The tapes that you say were precious to you. If they belong to you, put them in a suitcase. So there's a lot more about this that I don't quite understand. There's a lot about this that I don't quite understand. When your father passed away, who got the house?
The house.
Your father passed away. What happened to the house?
The house is still in probate.
Oh.
So during the probate thing, I had to have permission to take anything out of the house.
I'm telling you, I've answered your lawsuit, sir.
Okay.
I've answered your lawsuit.
Thank you.
That you're a 64-year-old man, and if something that could fit in a tissue box was that precious to you when you visited your father and you had a home, you would have taken it with you when you left.
Certain things I couldn't take.
This is not a tea dance.
The property has lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this goes. I lost a sister.
This isn't the probate court. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished.
Donnell Joseph claims his niece, Tina Williams, and his sister, Martha Williams, threw away his personal belongings. Tina and Martha are countersuing for the cost of a cleaning crew.
I asked you if the house is still in probate, which is unfortunate because people didn't take care of the business. Who are the beneficiaries of the sale of the house?
Me, my sister LaWanda, my half-brother Justin Joseph, my sister Sherry's 2 sons.
Okay, let's try to clarify this. Are you the executor of the will?
There's no will. My mom's the administrator of the probate.
And I just got to be administrator. We had to go back and forth to court. We had no way of getting in and out of the house because we had no keys.
Okay. And your father, I assume, had no will?
He had no will.
What's the value of the house?
Well, we don't know because since Martha became the administrator,
Just a second. What's the address of the house?
My mom had the house appraised at $250,000.
She's going to tell me.
So the off-market says it's approximating $464,000. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 858 square feet.
And the estimate?
The range is between 400 and 515.
Ooh, well, the family has a valuable asset that has yet to be divided after all this time. It's a good lesson for everybody out there. Make a will. Now you can tell me.
Thank you. My grandma, which is their mother, she bought the house on her own with my mom's last name, which is her dad's statement. It's her maiden name, who she was married to. We don't know if they were married. That's what we're going through in probate. It's a process. But the beneficiaries would be Donnell, my mom, and 2 heirs of a deceased sibling. Donnell has also been in jail for most of my life. He hasn't been to California at all. So I wanted to back that up as well.
Well, he's not entitled to anything. Okay. If he wanted these items that were valuable to him, he should have taken them during his 64 years.
The most safest place that I had in the world for my valuables to be held was my father.
If you own a home in New York with your wife and you had an opportunity to take these valuable things because you said you visited with your father after 2009, then you should have taken them. And don't tell me it was the safest place because...
Not only the safest thing, but my father... He lost 2 sons. And the only thing that he had in his house is the things that was left over from his children. And to take anything that was of value away from his children would have hurt my father. So the safest place for all our property.
Mr. Joseph, you don't think you're going to prison hurt your father?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I changed my life around.
Let's get real. Okay. You're not getting any money here.
Okay.
You're going to wait for probate. And in the probate procedure, which hopefully won't take forever, but it clearly can because people are irresponsible and don't create a will, it is likely that you will have part of the proceeds of this house. Likely. Only because if your mother passed away and if she was in fact married to your father or lived with him at that time in California, if there was a common law relationship and they did have children together, then you as a offspring would be entitled, if there was no will, to part of the proceeds of this house.
Yes. When she bought the house, she bought it as a married woman. So once she didn't buy it as a single property.
That's something, Mr. Joseph, you don't have to convince me of. You have to convince the probate judge of.
Okay.
You also have a counterclaim that's ridiculous, and I'm not entertaining it. It's really just stupid. Stay with probate. When is the probate proceeding supposed to be finished?
Well, we're going through a mandatory settlement.
One thing I want to say, Your Honor, however this probate is, I wanted to, the property has lost this, but I lost a sister in this process.
He said he was.
And it makes no difference of how this go. I lost a sister. My niece, she's something else, but I love my sister.
This isn't the probate court, Mr.
I love
Joseph.
my sisters.
This is not the probate court, Mr. Joseph. And I suggest that if you love your sister...
She know I love her.
Just a second. If you love your sister, and you're
I don't
64 years old,
to me.
and you're 64...
When you know I love you.
Shh, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
I know you can get emotional in situations where family is involved, and your sister clearly is sick because she's using oxygen.
Well, I just had liver surgery.
Mr. Joseph, what I'm telling you is, if you have an opportunity in the probate court, I'm actually telling this to both you and Miss Williams, if you have an opportunity at your age and your stage to settle something that gives each of you something, maybe less than you would get if somebody was disinherited, but at this stage in life, at 64 years old, somebody who just had liver surgery and someone who must rely on oxygen in order to breathe, My common sense tells me that what you do is not to give the whole thing away to lawyers who are there sucking up whatever profits there are going to be in this house. Because if the house is worth $200,000, you're going to get a bill for $140,000 for the probate administrator, for the lawyers, and you're going to wind up with zippity-doo-dah. So I would suggest that you all take a deep breath and say, whatever it is, let it be finished. You have no case, Mr. Joseph. Rely on the probate system. I wish you good luck. I said your countersuit's ridiculous. And I'm dismissing.
I have proof.
I want to tell you something. Your countersuit for having to rehire somebody to move is ridiculous. I'm telling you, rely on the probate court. We are done here.
Would you please let me present my countersuit?
No, I read it. I read it. I'm dismissing it on its face. We're done.
This court is adjourned. All I can say is I love my sister.
Just the same thing that's happening, nothing.
Whether it's a probate thing or not, that ain't gonna never change.
I don't want to hear anything else.
I'm always love her, because that's my sister.
Let the probate court decide it.
You know, at 25, after doing season 1 of this show, I created and executed a will because this is a situation we've seen far too many times, and it's so unfortunate to see the breakdown of a family over something that could have been prevented had the mother, father, grandfather, grandmother created a will when they were alive to tell the rest of us how they'd prefer their property to be disposed of.
It's fascinating to me that their mother is gone for 50 years. And for 50 years, that title to that house, which is a...
Never got flagged, never was...
Nobody ever thought about it.
Yeah.
And the father lived there for 40 years.
Must have at least paid the taxes and maintenance
because
on it.
Absolutely. And